Hey guys, I'm really excited to be here today with Christian Sundberg and to be diving into an amazing experience that he's had and learning more about, you, Christian, and your interpretation of everything that happened with you. I've heard your story, but a lot of people haven't heard your story, so I'm excited to share your story more. Do you want to kind of share a little bit from there?
Sure. It's very difficult to talk about this story because, as I shared in the other video, I feel like words just can't possibly do justice to our higher natures, to who we truly are. Uh, the context from which we come transcends duality itself. It transcends all the earth form. So when I have to use words and throw metaphors at you, and then you have to interpret them within your own experience, it's just incredibly limiting, and there's very little we can actually communicate in this way. So that's just a big disclaimer up front, because I feel like every time I even just open my mouth, it's just wrong. As soon as I even speak, that's just how these things are. So so when I was a young child, I had pre-birth memory. I remembered coming to Earth. I knew that we weren't from here naturally, that this was a place we were coming to visit and have a neat experience. And I assumed everybody knew that, but nobody talked about it, so I didn't talk about it either. And I used to kind of draw upon my pre-birth memory when I was very little. And then eventually, as I got older, it faded away and passed, and eventually I didn't remember it at all. And I ended up growing up with a very kind of mainstream mindset and belief system, and that carried through many years of my life until I was in my early 30s. And I discovered,
what is a mainstream mindset?
Yeah, mainstream life. So also, I was raised in the Lutheran Church, and so in my case, I viewed the world in a very kind of mainstream Lutheran belief system metaphor set for many years, which is fine. And I pursued.
So believing in like God and Jesus Christ and
the
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and I did. Yeah, no, I don't even say did in the past tense. To me, I always knew that I always sensed that they were metaphors in a way. I mean, the word God, what is that? So I pursued a relationship with the divine through that metaphor set. And I had certain beliefs that I had been brought up with about that. I had no at that time, I had no memory of what I'm about to share. Okay. So I didn't have, so for me, it was like, once the memory was gone, it was like I just learned what was taught to me, and like, look, the church, that was the place in society. I could sense there's spiritual stuff going on here. There's a bigger context. What's going on? And the place in society that existed to teach you about that was the church. And there wasn't really anywhere else. And that's where they talked about God and the Spirit and eternal life and these things that I just intuitively sensed existed. So that's just, that's the way I pursued it. But then in my early 30s, I was actually watching a Tom Campbell video, because I was always searching. I was always just seeking, and seeking is just naturally what I do, who I am. And he said one sentence in the video that sent me down this whole path. He said, "What you believe is not going to get you anywhere particularly important. The belief itself is not going to get you anywhere important." And it stung when he said it. It hurt my ego, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like that." But when I felt that, a little voice inside me just kind of nudged, like, why? Why does that hurt? Why does that sting? And I was like, yeah, why does that sting? So I watched Tom Campbell's Spain lecture, and I was fascinated. I bought his book. It's funny because I got the book. His book's a hefty tome.
Yeah,
I got it. The first, I'm standing in my garage, and I'm looking at this. This is before I went down, before I had begun a meditation practice or anything. This 10 years ago or so. And I thought, man, am I really going to read this book? Look how big this is. It's going to take a while. I open up. The first sentence of the preface is, "Yes, you need to take the time to read the preface." And I thought, well, this guy knows me. No, so anyway, I learned what I could from Tom's videos. I started reading his book. And most importantly, I began meditating. And I was not expecting anything. I just began meditating because the first few times I did, I thought, well, this feels really good. I'm experiencing some relief and some things I don't understand. And after I meditated for just actually a few months, I actually had my first non-physical experience spontaneously. And it actually scared the crap out of me because it was so real. it wasn't like a wishy-washy imagination thing. It was, in this case, I was sleeping and I was having a dream that I was about to be killed. And in the dream, I said to myself, okay, let go, leave your body now, because I thought I was about to die. And suddenly I was in a state of extreme vibrations and I was awake. I was fully lucid. Well, I mean, my body was not awake, but I was fully awake and lucid, and I was experiencing these very violent vibrations, and it sounded like there was a jet engine on either side of my head. It was so loud, and I was stuck there for a few seconds, and I was like, what is this? And when I finally woke up, I jumped out of bed. I mean, I physically leapt out of my bed. Like, I was so freaked out by how intense this experience was. And that was just the first of what turned out to be many experiences that were very eye-opening. And as I continued to meditate, I didn't anticipate this, but I just suddenly started having memory return to me that I had when I was a child that I'd forgotten. Memory about why I've come, what this life is, what I'm doing here. And it's been very helpful. And I know why it was very important that I forgot. I would not have been able to experience the trauma that I did in my 20s, which was a very important part of why I came. I came to face a fear, to feel and integrate this very low vibration. I don't know how to describe it, but this certain vibration that had bested me, is the best way I can put it, in another experience, in a past experience. And in that past life, I had experienced an agonizing death as a result of what this fear did to me and where it took me. So I now know that it was important that I re-engaged a very challenging sensation of fear and experience of fear in this life. And so
wait, just
yeah, I know there's a lot. Yeah.
It's because like what you just shared is it's hitting home for me. And that, okay, so you said you came in here and you had these memories of what life was like before you came in here as a child, right?
Yeah.
But then as you started growing up, so around maybe what, 5 or 6?
Yeah, five, 6, definitely by 7.
Okay, these memories faded, and
Yep.
then all you knew was this reality that here you are, Christian Sundberg. That's what you are, and that's all that there is.
Yeah.
Growing up as a Christian in a Christian family, and then by the time you're in your early 30s, you're learning how to meditate, and through meditation, you get these experiences that kind of all these memories come flooding back to you, where you remember all the things that you did when you were before you were 5. You remember life before you came into this reality.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes,
share a little bit about that. What was life like before you came into this reality?
Yeah, so it's a long story, and it's hard. Again, it's very hard to share. So I'll just say as concise as I can. So I remember a very long time ago, before I had ever incarnated in this reality, being inspired by a being who had been physical, who had incarnated, and the quality of his, I don't know how to describe this because it's just so beyond words, but the quality of his being, the quality of his nature was so full of light and joy and power, and just, it was incredible. And I was inspired by him to go down this path and to begin to, I guess I would just put it, integrate experience. It's the only English words I can think of. That is to come into experiences like this with a certain level of denseness, and to meet them ultimately with love, as Tom Campbell says. It sounds so trite almost, to meet it with love, but love is our true nature. Who we really are, what we really are is freedom and joy and power and bliss. And then we apply what we are into these very specific contexts, and it's so exciting for the soul to do that. There's the most profound, blessed, amazing honor. I don't know how else to put it, to be given the opportunity to do this, because there's only so many opportunities. Like in our reality, there's only so many people, there's only so many things. So there's a limited number of opportunities, and when you are given one, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so honored, even though it could be very, very challenging here we are.
And for me, because I must be coming from a limited mindset, because for me, I'm like, what do you mean? There's like 7.5 billion opportunities.
Oh, that's a very small number in comparison to the breadth of the higher realities. And I can't put words on that very well. But the finiteness. Okay, so I don't know if you imagine. I don't know. Imagine an extremely big number. I don't know, trillions or something, and you've got a few million slots here going on at the moment. It's anyway. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to explain. It's just that from that side, it's just a profound opportunity. So in my case, I had a previous experience. I took a break afterwards. I took a break of not being physical for quite a while.
Okay, so a previous experience in this physical matter reality?
I don't know. I was some physical being. Yeah,
okay.
I was physical somewhere.
Right.
Then I had a break. And then I decided I wanted to, okay, so then I met with a guide. I remember this guy coming to me and asking, "Are you ready to go back yet?" And kind of, this is very hard to explain because everybody wants to know, what did that feel like? And where was that? And
for me, I would be like,
it's very hard to explain.
I'm not going back.
It's a state. So he kept coming back, but it was more like reminding me of my own intention. Okay, so like, okay, you're right. So then I got with this guide, and the guide, this is so hard to describe.
Or he was like, time to get back to work, Christian. Come on.
It's kind of like that, but it's like, so we reviewed like who I am and what I am, who I've been, and it was obvious the thing that I needed to do, the thing I needed to work on. There were many areas that I had, I don't want to use the word accomplished or achieved, but I had been able to, actualize myself in a loving way in certain areas.
Yeah, growth.
And I felt there's a theme I need to try to articulate here. So there's this expansion of being that is integral to what we're doing here. This is so important. And we're all walking around our lives forgetting that we're doing this, most of us, but and this is so hard to explain, but imagine you have like, I don't know, this is really a limited metaphor, but imagine you have source as a point of light. And then if you can go this far away and you can integrate this experience and fully be here and actualize who you really are here, then the growth of being comes to there. And there's like this, I don't know how to describe it. I really wish I could do a better job. But there's an opportunity for expansion. And what is it the expansion of? It's the expansion of what is possible. It's the expansion of love. It's the expansion of joy, lasting joy. It's the expansion of power. It's the expansion of what is. Mm-hmm. What is. And there's a profound joy that's associated with that expansion. So that's important. So in my specific case, I knew that there was a fear that I had experienced in a previous life that was one of my, again, this sounds like a term in duality here, lowest vibration, because duality itself is transcendent. But anyway, I had an experience of life where I was completely overcome by this fear, and I had been an extremely high entropy person, to put it in Campbell's terms.
In your last incarnation.
This isn't I don't know when this is. This is not my last incarnation. This is at some point. I don't know. Okay. This is at some point in the past, and it was like a glaring, like, whoa! I can't believe I have that much fear that I can cause that much damage to people. But it was a profound opportunity, and this fear was so intense that I remember asking my guide, because I knew it would be very challenging, like super, super, super not easy. But like, see, when you're on that side, you know that you're immortal and that you're powerful and that there's nothing to fear. So I'm like, I want to do that. So, but I remember asking the guide, has it ever been done in all of creation? Has any other being ever done something in this way, this extreme, this vibrationally extreme? And I was shown yes. And basically reminded, you don't have to do it at once anyway. You have all of eternity available to you. You've been given all of this time. Mm-hmm. And I thought, so it's funny because like right now as a human, this seems so alien to me. But at the time I remember fully knowing with just total confidence, well, if it can be done, I can do it. Mm. If it can be done, I will do it. And it wasn't like a pride thing or anything like that. It was like, I just knew what we are. I just knew like, I had a desire to do good, because see, when you when you accomplish this as a soul, you're not only expanding yourself, you're helping the whole. We are performing a service right now. Every single person listening to this video today, even if they don't remember it, is performing a very important service just by being here. This is not like the easy class. This is not the place to come for a foot up on the couch vacation. This is a very intense experience engine or something. That word, very intense, very in your face. You don't remember who you are. You got to deal with all the stuff of life. You got to feed your body and take it to the bathroom and earn a living and deal with pain and judgment and all those things. You got to deal with that every day. So anyway, so back to my story. So I knew that I wanted to engage that fear. They brought me a life that was perfect for me to do that. And I accepted that life, but immediately after accepting the veil of forgetfulness is just what we call it as a word, but it's the adoption of the constraints and consciousness space that overcome you and allow you to be fully. It's like a deep dive down into a vacuum where you are obscured. All of a sudden, it's a very extreme plummet.
It's like taking the blue pill.
It's whatever. Which one was the blue pill in the Matrix?
The one where you forget. The one where you forget. You just like that nothing ever happened, and you just go.
Yeah,
back
in this case, it's forgetting, but it's very abrupt. So there's a quote by, I think it's Seth, where he says something to the effect of, "Many of you die and don't even realize you died. You're just there on the other side." And all of a sudden you look down, your body is there, you're done with your life, and you move on, and you may not even notice the transition of death, physical death. But incarnation is not like that. Incarnation is very abrupt and extremely noticeable, because you're going from a place of all connectedness and joy and freedom down into this like tuna can of the human body.
What did you call it?
The tuna can, like a small, very small tuna, like the fish tuna can.
Oh, okay. Oh,
like a very small metal container that you get shoved down within.
Right.
Anyway, so in this case, that I accepted the veil, and that process happened. But so each lifetime has like its own vibrational place, is the only way I can put it, like its own state of vibration that you arrive to. I assume that's biological or something. I don't know, but there's some state of vibration that you arrive to after accepting the veil and incarnating. And as soon as I arrived, I was overwhelmed by the lowness of the vibration of what I had just accepted. And I immediately changed my mind once I was there. And so in this experience, it's actually very, very emotional, but because I feel it even now, but I rejected the experience, and I mustered my might. I summoned who I am, and I said, "No, I'm not doing this." I smote it, and I was out. I was freed, and I knew immediately. I had a life review, because I had inadvertently killed the fetus that was to be my body, that was to be me, and the mother had a miscarriage, and I knew the pain that I caused her, and I don't know who she is. I don't know when it happened. I don't know. All I know is that I caused a lot of pain, and I knew not only the pain I caused her, but hundreds of other people that she would affect in her life in a different way because of the loss that she experienced from me. And I went in with all these great intentions, and I was like, I had all this like just positive intention, and that had happened. So I was very disappointed in myself. I mean, nothing is wrong from that state, because you can just see everything's well, everything's fine. It's just a play. There's nothing to be afraid of. She's fine. I'm fine. Everyone's fine.
Yeah.
But I was very disappointed in myself in an objective way. Like I was like, I just can't believe I did that. So that was a really good opportunity that was wasted. And before they brought me this life, I remember practicing accepting the veil and going through that vibrational plummet again. I guess I called it in the other video a veil acceptance simulator or something. I don't know, some place that you go, and it's not a real veil, but it's like the veil, and you have to surrender to it. And you practice giving up your control and letting it come over you and being fully present with it. So then I remember them coming to me and telling me it was, okay, so they brought me this life. I reviewed it in detail. I remember reviewing a vast flow chart of millions of possibilities of what this life might be like. Millions. I mean, all within a blink of an eye. It was not hard. It was easy to review millions of possibilities of what could happen. And there were many things that were very likely to happen and some things that were less likely to happen. But it was not really about the events. It was more about how it would be, how it would feel. You know, who would I be and what things might I feel and how other people might be affected. And so I reviewed that, and I knew that a trauma would likely befall me in my early 20s, which would crush me and help me to re-experience this fear. And that did happen. That did happen. I had post-traumatic stress from a health crisis I had in China when I was 22. And I dealt with that for maybe 7 or 8 years of counseling. And I did a lot of inner work. And this all happened before I began meditating, because I feel like it was important that I did all that without any knowledge of this. And it was only because I've been able to meet a certain element, a certain angle of this fear, that memory returned. And now it acts as an inspiration to keep going. My own intent inspires me, even though it's hard. You know, being human is, I'm not saying being human is always hard, but it has a very high constraint set that goes along with it. And there's a very good possibility for extreme difficulty for many people. So anyway, I reviewed the chart, the flow chart is what I'm calling it. I remember them getting my attention, like when it was time to go, like, you got to go now. Like all of a sudden, like I was, I don't know, timeless or something. Like I was in this state where it was just didn't, and all of a sudden they came and it was like, now you got to go now you're on Earth time. You got to get moving. And I remember these beings that helped facilitate the application of the veil over me and the incarnation. And I refer to them as tinkerers, because that's the only English word I can think of that kind of matches, but they're beings that are like technical in the application of the veil. And that's what they do. And what they do is they're able to discern your personal, who you are, your vibration, all of it you are, and match it somehow to all that the life is. And they do this thing where it like I don't know, they make it work. And then before you go, they say, one last time, are you sure? Because once you say sure, this is it. Like this is the last chance button. And you know, I said yes, and then I remember the veil coming over me and surrendering to it and being completely overcome by fear again. Like it was the vibrational plummet was like I don't know, if you imagine like an amp, like a sound amp that has a pitch coming out of it that's really high, like, you know, high pitch, and you turn down the knob. Imagine turning it lower and lower and lower. Like after you get to the low point, you just keep cranking it lower. That's how it felt in the being to come all the way down into here. So I held on and I did my best to just not fight it, because I just knew that as long as I didn't fight it, I'd be fine. You know, they're going to take care of the rest, and I just need to let it sink in and take hold of me. And that happened. And then I was in the womb for a while, and this part is very emotional for me, but I reached another point where I said, this is not happening. I'm not doing this. This vibration is so low. I'm trapped. I don't like this. I'm not doing this. So once again, I decided to summon my might to fight my way out again. And this is a holy moment for me, but the Spirit of God came to me and it showed me who I really am, who we all really are. It was beautiful, and I knew I was still connected to all that is. And the Spirit basically communicated, this is still who you are. You can never not be this. And it's the most beautiful thought to me, because I can't wait to be there again. But anyway, at the time, it calmed me. It like made me like, oh, okay, that's awesome, great, okay. And I like kind of let go, and I let myself just kind of surrender to being in the womb, and it was very peaceful and tight but peaceful. I remember feeling just like I remember kind of coming and going, and then the day of my birth came, and I don't remember any. Okay, I remember sensations And then I remember one visual image only from the day I was born. I remember the room after they pulled me out. And later, when I was older, I described the room to my mother, and I drew where the bed was, where the window was, where the heating grate was, where the doctor was standing. And she said I was right. I knew I would be. But that memory to me always seemed holy when I thought back on it, that memory of being born. And I remember like being intensely curious the day I was born. I remember looking up at the doctors and thinking like, who are these beings? Where am I? What is going on? You know, like just, there was no context though. There was no meaning. I didn't know anything about what was going on. I had zero. I was a clean slate. So I just looked upon these beings that were in the room with just love, actually, and awe and wonder, like, oh, they're doing something for me. That's so wonderful. Who are they? And why do I hurt? And what is going on? Like it was just very intense. So that's my earliest memory. And then I don't have very much memory until I was older. And I remember, this is a story I shared in the other video too, but I remember when I was probably, I don't know, 3 or something, however old you are when you're still wearing a diaper and you're learning how to walk. Yeah. I remember standing in my diaper at this couch, and my parents had a neighbor friend over to the house. And I remember assuming properties of the other reality would be true here, because that's just how things are. And one of the things that was true there that I expected would be true here is that we would be able to feel each other's emotions, just share our feelings. Because in other realities, just telepathic sharing of feeling, that's very normal. Like there's data dumps back and forth, and you just know how they're feeling and how you're feeling. There's no misunderstanding. Well, here I remember telling this neighbor friend, watch me dance, and my parents put some music on the record player, and I was feeling very funky, and I remember shaking my little tush around, and the neighbor friend walked away unimpressed. And it just dawned on me, like, she can't feel what I'm feeling. What the heck? Like, where am I that she can't feel what I'm feeling? What is going on? Like, it seems so alien to me that I was in a place where this was not possible. And I feel like all throughout my life, actually, I've had these certain assumptions that I have to keep telling myself, no, that's just not how it works on Earth. Like, I don't know, like I feel like in other systems, your intent is known, and your intent is what's important. And like if you have I don't want to use this term loosely, but a job. If you have a job and you're arriving with the right effort and intent, that's what you're not judged on, but that's what's important. Well, here it's not really about that. It's it's totally like it's all face, it's all the surface, it's all how you're being perceived, and anyway, you know how it is. And it's just there's things like another thing was I always assumed that people that were in positions of power or authority were beings of great love and wisdom. So I assumed that if they were teaching at my school, they must be loving beings, and if they were the mayor of a city, that must be a really evolved being, and if they were the president of the United States, that person must be the most loving and wise person. That's not how it works on Earth. It's not how it is, especially at the moment. Yeah, this is my opinion. No, but so I was kind of dumbfounded and perplexed, and eventually the memory left me, like I said, and I didn't remember any of that. And then when it returned to me, I was just very surprised that it had ever left. I was just like, how did I ever forget that? Like, it's the most natural thing in the world. In fact, the memory is like alive now. It's not like an Earth memory that happened kind of in the past and it's kind of blurry. No, it feels like it's right now, and it's super like real, like super real, even more real than a physical event. And I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it's dissimilar. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like an earthly memory.
Is it more like I guess just this confidence, this knowing in your true nature and what is real? Whereas, does it feel like everything here is fake, or?
No, it feels like everything here is like a black and white movie. Okay. It's not fake. It's not fake. It's a real black and white movie. But it's black and white. I don't know. That's the best way I can put it. And when I say the memory feels real, it's like that is who we really are on the other side. this is like wearing a shirt or a spacesuit maybe,
Hmm.
and we're like looking out of the thick glass and we're like clunking around, and this is not the norm for the being. This is an experience, and the experience is occurring within that which is still there. The spirit, the consciousness itself is already there, already connected to all that is. It's just like a big, I don't like using the word illusion, but it's like a big illusion. It's not an illusion because it's real. This experience is real, but the content of the experience is not fundamental. It's a non-fundamental experience. It's kind of like a dream, like a very real dream. It's very intense. And because it's very intense, it has a very high opportunity for expansion, for growth. The further we can go, the more real, the more engaging it is, the greater the opportunity. And many spirits really, I mean, everybody, I think that different spirits have different habits on how they approach incarnation, but many, from my understanding, try to do the hard things. They like doing it all at once, coming in and like really getting their hands dirty, because if they can do that, they know the incredible expansion and joy that is possible. And the guides may even remind them, that might be too much. You might want to not lay off that much. And usually it's the incarnating spirit that says, no, I want to do that. I want it to be challenging. Well, here we are, and this place can be pretty challenging.
What do you think about, do you feel that most beings on this planet that are playing this game have chosen to be here and to incarnate into a specific life? Or do you feel like most of us are just here and we're fumbling around?
Well, I don't know, because I only know what I went through, but I believe I think it's likely that the vast majority of people here specifically pick their life. Because I say that because I remember the incredible amount of detail that I reviewed this life beforehand, with what could be. Like, for instance, I knew the details about my parents. I knew who they were, not as like names, but as beings. See, that's important. It's like who we really are is the being. You're not really the character. So it's the being as the character. And I remember like the confidence my father would instill in me. I knew that would be very important for me. Because I knew that I would have to be confident, or else it would be almost impossible for me to meet this fear. I needed that confidence to get through the fear, and it would be a tool. So and then my father did raise me to be very confident. He always bolstered my confidence.
Do you mind if I ask what was the fear that you overcame or are overcoming?
Yeah, in the process of overcoming, yeah. So we like to put words on things. So we like to say the fear is like a fear of spiders or something like that. It's not quite that simple. The fear is like a vibration. And if I had to describe it, it would be inability to escape agony mixed with being too proud to suffer. And it took me a lot of years to finally get to that, because we bury our fears underneath many layers, hundreds of layers of ego to protect us. And when I first started going through counseling, I was going through EMDR, which is a form of therapy. And you'd hit a layer and you'd find something in yourself that was really scary and like, oh, that's it. That's got to be it. That's the root. And then you'd find another layer that's even deeper. Oh, now that's got to be it. It went on and on and on and on and on. And it was like, it took me years to finally re-experience the most terrifying moment for me. I was in a hospital in Chengdu, China. And I thought I was dying, and I experienced the same fear that I had had before. And it was just, it's really hard to describe it. It's a fear of being completely unable to escape pain and like rejecting it because you're too proud. I don't know how to describe it, but it's something along those lines. And so the way for me this is a huge topic that we could talk for hours about this, but for me, one of the most important aspects of meeting this fear and healing it is allowing it and allowing myself to feel. See, we reject things because we don't want to feel them. We're like, I don't like feeling alone. I don't like feeling shameful. I don't like feeling powerless. Well, this is like the most powerless, like the most, like, very extreme. And I'm choosing to feel it. And when it comes, if it comes. And, I have certain experiences that arise because of that. And that's okay. When they come up, I'm willing to allow reality to, I'm choosing to be willing to allow reality to arrive to me how it will. And that's my personal walk. And I feel like everybody can benefit to some extent to allow reality to arrive to them as it will, because reality is not your enemy. But in my specific case, it has to do with my feelings, my fears. I'm a very sensitive person, so I feel like I live in a world that is not really built for me. It's very, like, difficult on a day-to-day basis to, and I'm successful. I mean, I do all the things I need to do, and I've achieved human accomplishment. But it's very difficult for me, and I found that just allowing myself to experience whatever arrives, whatever feeling arrives, and not to fight it off, but be of it, and allow me to feel it, because otherwise you're going to bury it. And if you bury it, it's just still there. It's still down there. It's just then it causes problems. And that's what the ego does. And the ego says, no, I'm not powerless. I'm not powerless because look, I did this and I did this and I accomplished this and look who I am. And see, that's who no, it doesn't work. You may think that works, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You feel how you feel. And the thing is, the now moment is this gets into another idea, but it's the one now moment. This one now is all the moments. So if in a now moment you experienced some feeling, it's still there. So don't worry if it arrives into this now. Allow yourself to feel. No feeling will kill you.
Yeah.
No feeling will kill you. And even if your body would die someday, that's okay. You're gonna die. Our bodies are gonna pass. There's no such thing as death. It's just it's like the biggest misunderstanding of this world. We're all like running around trying to consume things and avoid thinking about our fears and avoid thinking about death. And we don't want to look, especially in the USA, we don't want to look at death too much. We just put it over here in a corner, and it's part of life. We're all going to pass.
Yeah, we're going to pass, and we're going to let go of this life experience packet, as Tom would say,
Exactly.
and move on to the next one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I like the point that you made earlier where you said it was necessary for you to forget and to come here in order for you to learn something or to experience trauma. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Why was it necessary?
To speak to your question, I'm going to open something up on my computer.
I'm going to have a sip of wine.
I actually have, I've been working on a book for a number of years.
Oh, join the club, Christian.
And I'm getting close. And
nice.
I'm trying to, like, answer these kind of questions in a succinct way. Not that I have all the answers. Okay, I don't. But I feel like people need to know. So as I look for that, I'll just say, when you know your true nature, there's nothing to fear. Now, it's not like you need something to fear. We don't need fear. But our true nature is beyond harm and without limitation. And our native being is powerful and unharmable. So the veil allows us to focus on the physical experience all the way. It allows us to completely be this person, this character. If you didn't have the veil, you wouldn't be this character. You'd be the thing you already are that's connected to everything and is without limitation. Like, imagine if you knew that you were connected to the sun. Imagine if you knew the sun was in you, of you. How would that affect how you got up in the morning and went about your day? It would affect it a lot. It would affect it a lot. So there's a very practical purpose. I'm going to find this. I'm sorry, it's just taking me a moment.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just named 4 reasons that I thought of. So the first is the veil allows us to have the very specialized experience of creaturehood and make choices from this very deep and convincing perspective. So to make choices as if you're only this human personality, which is the very crux of what makes this experience so valuable. You have to do it from the perspective, from here. Doing it from here is you having this experience. You know, if you didn't have the experience of being Vanessa, you wouldn't be Vanessa. You wouldn't have all the profound opportunity of experience that goes along with being Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit like saying, why do we have to be the person we are? Well, because that's how it works.
Gives us,
and then number two, the veil allows us to focus on the physical, which is important because if we didn't have it, we'd get distracted. Because the higher realms are incredibly beautiful and fun and joyful and just wonderful. So if you were constantly aware of that, it'd be very hard to stay focused and not get distracted in this experience.
Mm.
3, the veil protects us from painful homesickness. Okay, and I say that because the contrast is so great to be here as human that if you're like here and you know about there, it's super painful to be here because like you miss there so much. And that is actually why I'm very grateful that I don't have more memory. Like some of the memory return, and I'm so glad it's limited. I'm glad I only have a tiny little bit of memory come up because that tiny little bit of memory equals a lot of homesickness. And I'm just so homesick. I'm not saying anything against this experience. I don't want it to end. I'm here. I'm fully meaning this experience, but I just miss home so much.
I can relate to that, and definitely when I was in my 20s, in my teenage years, I always I want to go home. I want to go home.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
And, yeah.
I don't even know where home is. I want to go home. I don't know where it is. I don't see it.
But I know it's not here.
My parents tell me this is my home, but it's not here.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. So imagine if you like knew that tangibly on the tip of your, it's like drive you mad.
Yeah, and we both experienced it. It does drive you mad. Yeah. For sure.
And the fourth thing I'd say is the veil allows you to have a clean slate each time. Because if you have these past lives are not other people, they're you. Like right. You have done other things. It's kind of like, okay, so this is a very rough metaphor that's just coming to mind, but let's say every day of the week you went and did a different activity. Monday you went rock climbing, and Tuesday you went to the movies, and Wednesday you went over to this restaurant, whatever. It's still you doing those experiences. It's not like a different person each day, even though you may feel very different when you're rock climbing than when you're watching the movies. It's kind of like that. It's like you are still the you between experiences. But what happens is in any given experience, especially in a physical reality like this where the constraints are so high, we do tend to get hung up in fear. And we tend to get snagged on certain associations. We associate with certain beliefs or requirements or whatever, ego thing. We associate deeply with them. And many people, go to their graves with some limiting idea that they're just really grabbing on hold tight to. So one thing the veil allows you to do is you start over. You have no history, you have no context when you come. You're a new person. At Tom Campbell's term, you're a new free will awareness unit. You got no baggage. Exactly, no baggage. So that's another important reason, because then you're able to just start completely fresh, and then it's a new growth opportunity. And then when you're finished, well, not even when you're finished. I don't want to make a distinction between then and now, because it's all now. But to the soul, the personality of this one person that you are is precious. So it's very additive to be this person. It's the most precious, like, I don't know, like it's just so valuable to the soul. So in that way, the veil is a very additive thing. And I get the sense, the words are so limiting, but I get the sense that we could call the veil something like a consciousness technology, something that spirit came up with to facilitate expansion in incredible ways. And it's been refined. This isn't the first time either. This universe isn't the first time a veil has been used. But anyway, so I guess that's kind of like my high level, like how I would try to answer that question with English.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Wow. This is amazing, Christian. So much. So much to I love the way you put it. And I think that a lot of us we feel the way that you're describing, and yet we don't know how to
Yeah.
put it in words yet. Which is that's why it's so valuable for you to be sharing your story and sharing your experiences so we don't feel alone, so that we can be like, wow, you too? Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not crazy, but there's others out there
Oh no, you're not. No, I know. I really want to reiterate that to those who are listening. You're not crazy and you're not alone. Like, we are all connected. We are all brothers and sisters. I don't care who you are listening to this video. You are my brother and sister. Like, we're a family, every one of us. So we got to be there for each other, and now's the time. And I get kind of fired up. I walk down the street and I see people getting really hung up on things and being mean to each other. And I just want to be like, yo, you're playing a game. Don't take it so seriously. Try to have fun. And by the way, you're an immortal spirit who's not going to die. Like, I just want, but the thing is, as you know, and as Campbell said many times, people are ready for what they're ready for, where they are. And that's fine. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that are not even interested in the higher context, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I do feel compelled to at least say something, and it hasn't been easy. Like, I have some in-laws that are very conservative, and there's been a lot of friction caused in that. And anytime you put yourself out there, you're going to get challenged. And I don't think of myself as some teacher or anything like that. I'm just me. But I have put myself out there. I have a blog. I have the other video I shared. I'm going to be publishing a book, which I intend to give away, so that there's not like a misunderstanding about like what I'm trying to do with this book. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to share the information.
What's your blog?
The blog is awalkinthephysical.com.
awalkinthephysical.com. That's right. Yeah, I've read some of your blog posts.
And basically the book is from the blog, because the blog has been very spirit-led. Mm-hmm. And I go back and read what I've written, and I don't even believe it came through me. But all I do is I know when I feel spirit come, and I just like let go and just use my ability of English, please, and I'll just write it down. And it's just really worked out, and I'm piecing it together. And one of the things I know I really want to do in this life before this is over is I must get this book out there, even if it only reaches one person. Mm-hmm. I just know I need to get it in the physical. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I relate to what you were saying. As was kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but I relate very much to we need to encourage each other and remind each other of who we really are. And to not take this tumultuous play so seriously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Christian. What a great way to kind of sum it up there. Thank you so much for giving me the time to connect and being so vulnerable and open and real. I truly respect you and value this. So thank you.
You're welcome. We all need to be real. We got to be real with each other. We can't just. That's the thing about spiritual. I'll just make one last comment. The spirituality stuff is not like a faraway fairy tale land. People like to think of. I think sometimes in religious circles, it's like, well, here we're on Earth, and that spirituality stuff is somewhere else, and that's out there. And I want to go, and maybe it's real. Maybe I'm going to believe in it or not. No, this spirituality is the search for exactly what is real, and underneath all the thoughts and all the associations that we have that we think make us who we are, underneath all that, the most real thing is spirit, is consciousness, the thing that is here now, listening to this, the you that is here. That's what's real. So we have to constantly make choices, and we not have to, but we have the opportunity to constantly make choices to better reflect that in this place, because that thing that we are, that true nature that we are, is of love and freedom and joy and effortlessness and openness. It's not what we are is not a thing of stress and pain. This is not what it is. So the more authentic we can be, and the more genuine we can be about how we feel and how we relate to each other, and about how we take care of those around us, and how we meet our common moment, just the common simple moments. That there's so much power in that. And I think on Earth, we tend to get so distracted about like, oh, we got these big problems, we got these governments we got to fix, we got this and that. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that. Just meet this moment with openness and love, and that's it. The small stuff is the big stuff.
Totally.
It's
Yeah.
a very encouraging message, I think.
It is. And life ends up becoming fun and playful when you
Exactly.
live it, right? Yeah.
I love that video you did of the spider in your bathtub.
Yeah, that's right.
I watched that, and you picked it up with a cup, and then you threw the entire cup outside.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that I laughed so hard at that.
Yeah, I did too. Afterwards, it's like I'm such a dork.
No, but you know what? You were being genuine, and you just threw the cup outside, and I laughed so hard. And I just thought I'd share that. That's like the little stuff is what's important.
Yeah.
Like I know we have to wrap it up, but it reminds me of a near-death experience I read where the gentleman had his life review, and he saw the most profoundly beautiful moment of his life was this time that he was a child and he had been on a road trip with his parents, and they stopped at a stop to get gas or something, and there was a river nearby, and he went down to the river and like rinsed something out, and he had a bucket with him, and he noticed there was a dry tree out of the way, and he filled the bucket and walked over to the dry tree and watered it, even though the bucket was heavy for him and uncomfortable for him to carry, and he didn't ever think of it again. He never thought about that little event that he did, and all he did is water a tree one time.
Mhm.
And it was the most celebrated, wonderful, beautiful moment of his life. One of them. That was the one he highlighted in his MBE. And I think that's important for us to remember, because we keep thinking about all these things we got to do. We got to make these changes. We got to pay these bills. We got to fix these systems. We got to do all. Okay, just meet yourself, meet your world, meet the person next to you the best you can. Water the plant.
Yeah, and slow down, right?
Slow down. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and enjoy life, and not be so caught up in the next thing. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. I love this. Thank you, Christian.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this again. I would love to do this again. Let's both slow down and make more time for this.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Like maybe like once a month we can have like a catch up.
That'd be fun.
Okay, cool. Let's do it then. So yeah, I'll reach out to you in a few weeks and we'll schedule it.
Great. Let's do it.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you, Vanessa. Have a good day.
Okay. You as well.